was surprising in and of itself. I'm not sure if people are aware of the recent roster struggles of Direwolves, but I mean, we haven't actually seen them in action. There are times where teams will run players or subs or somebody will step off as a coach and you'll have an extraordinary start to an event. It's entirely possible. You know, these matches aren't played in theory. These matches aren't played in our heads. These matches are played in the actual matchup. Operator bans are rolling in on Cafe. This is MNM Gaming's map. So far, Jackal and Ying removed from action. Azami will follow, and one final defender will be taken out in just a matter of moments. Is this a suitable landscape in terms of bans for these teams, Nicholas?
I would like to see Divos take it with the Solace just because of how MNM played it so successfully against Wolves on Clubhouse yesterday. If not, there it is. Then I would say they haven't really done their full research here, because MNM, as far as I gather from day one of Invite, is that they are one of the most pro-efficient teams at playing this new Operator of Solace. So very happy to see them kind of pay their respects and recognizing that as well. And I would say the only kind of odd one out right now on the Operator ban table is going to be the Jackal. Cafe is not a roam-heavy map. You're not really going to be hunting around for prey around the map at all, typically at least. So Jackal is a bit of an odd one, but it can be argued, because if you are Direwolves and you want to play Pulse Below, for example, you will often find yourself quite isolated. A Jackal could be a thorn in your side if that was the scenario, but this also leaves Nuke open for the attacking side, which can do a similar job of hunting down those single roamers with the gadgetry, avoiding camera information, etc. The only real counter on the table right now is, of course, Harambe on the Pulse.
If you consider that operator bans are in many ways counter bans designed to flummox and confuse your opponents, well, Direwolves banned out the Jackal presumably because they're worried about MNM Gaming bringing out the Jackal. But I mean, yesterday I don't even think MNM played a Jackal.
I don't believe so, no.
I can recall.
No.
Wolves banned 2 operators on attack yesterday because they only played 2 maps against MNM. In the very first game, Wolves didn't want to deal with a Nook on Chalet. And then on Clubhouse, Wolves didn't want to deal with Dokkaebi. And Dokkaebi was an operator that showed up a bunch on Chalet. So if you're Direwolves, why the Jackal pick? Are you just really worried that you're going to play, you know, maybe a very aggressive, very quick defense and a Jackal will thwart you perfectly? I mean, if you're looking at the way that Direwolves have to play this, I think unpredictability would be the name of the game against MNM, and Jackal definitely does hard counter that.
Speaking of unpredictability, I was informed by James from the desk that we just saw saying that Direwolves have not played Cathay in 9 months' time, so there is a lot of uncertainty for MNM, and I mean...
That's a disrespectful play by Solotov, by the way. Or sorry, by Pecan, sorry.
Yeah, just walking out the door like that?
That was a disrespectful play by Pecan. I mean, I get it. I get it. I said unpredictability to be the name of the game. Okay, fine, but the door gets shot out and you're playing up against good international competition. Maybe don't dry peek the door with limited intel.
It's certainly risky, and I like this setup here from MNM. They got such a stable core foundation of information here, right? Dokkaebi, Knave on those calls, can hack the camera now with that opening kill. Solotov on this 0 to further ground a foundation of information on the map, similar to like Nomad for the staircases. You can kind of lock down areas, execute with the capital fire and the grenades. They can attack both from the window side that we see right now in the east, or go for regular hatch take. Nilo, he finds the 2nd kill in the round onto Souffle.
Now, for those of you that haven't followed along, Harambe and Ray are relatively new, quote-unquote, additions. Harambe obviously was a former player at one point, as was Ray, but neither have been on this squad for a while. Reaps and ED were the 2 players that you got to see most commonly, no longer with the squad. First kill for Direwolves comes out. It's Jackie Wu. Going for the swing on the Solotov, 0 down for the counter. Those Argus cams out, because if so, then 0 will still be providing tons of value. A second for Jackie Wu, as Nello, who'd gotten the kill before, is removed from action. Both players who got on the scoreboard for MNM are no more, but Uzus, will he meet the same fate as he's picked up a kill of his own? Pulse of Harambe down below as you hear that Dokkaebi absolutely pulverize Ray. Harambe doing some scouting work with the pulse sensor. Nice shot on the Tyrant. 2 more to be found. It's a nitro cell in his pocket. Nafe goes for the plant, gets off, and that should be it. But no, oh, he does get him. I was curious as to whether or not he was up top. Oh, Uzus just missing out on an opportunity here. But Sledge is only a 1 armor. or a 1-speed. He's in the hunt right now and will engage, and it's an easy win for Harambe. He might not be a regular player on the team, but it doesn't matter. Well played by Direwolves to take the very first round.
It's a very scrappy round for both teams, and it really boils down to there was so many individual 1 versus 1s. I don't think we saw any kind of team-coordinated play, right? Opening div was Pecan peeking the door, Solotov wins that gunfight. Then you see 2, individual 1v1s from Jackie Wu, he wins those out. And the 1 versus 3 from MNM has to be cushioned, and Jack, also known as Fresh Analyst here, he has this like bingo card on his Twitter where he's like, MNM lose a 1vx, and then you can like check that off. And they did lose a 1vx yesterday as well, despite having a great performance with a 2-0 victory. But in the opening round against Direwolves, a top 4 attack of Cafe, they blunder at 1v3. They start plant, or well, rather, the first member goes downstairs into reading door before the plant starts getting started. He falls, then it's a 1v2. Then you know that's a post below with a C4. You plant on a desk that you can get C4'd from below, leaving you in a 1 versus 1, and then things fall apart. We gotta expect more from not just MNM in that circumstance, but frankly, any team that finds themselves in a 1v3 like that one should know what the right thing to do in that scenario, and that was not it. Direwolves capitalizes greatly off of it, and now can build themselves a bit of momentum here.
Setup still going on now as MNM will plot their way to attack this second floor.
Attackers have recovered their defuse.
The one thing that happens when you're playing up against a team that you walk into thinking for sure you're going to beat is you end up with that confidence being a bit misplaced. Yep. I mean, BDS, I'm sure, against CAG yesterday went in thinking they were the favorites, and I imagine most of the community would probably agree. But again, these matches aren't played in theory, they're played in the flesh, in these servers. And anything can happen. CAG obviously upsetting BDS yesterday, the defending major champions from Yanshiping.
Yep. And you can never underestimate your opponents in these scenarios, ever. So MNM, make it slow down here, just kind of reset. Direwolves have changed up their approach from a more flexible multi-floor setup with information to the mirror windows on Harambe instead. So in the first 2 rounds, Harambe is the player to look at in terms of flexibility for the side of the Wolves, or the Direwolves rather. Key member in both rounds.
Nade goes out and he'll open up one of those castle barricades. I don't know what Nathan is waiting for, particularly just to possibly play off of himself. As he shoots out the castle barricade on the landing of White Stairs. There goes the window next to it too. 2 separate players from Direwolves in close position. Ray collecting the kill onto Nafe. Not droning this out. Not getting good intel on that top floor. Allows Direwolves to punish this MNM squad. Mute Jammer will stop the Black Mirror on Cocktail Wall from being taken care of. Jackie Wu guarding over it. Jackie Wu was phenomenal in terms of shooting at the start of the round, and as a run out from Ray after getting a kill, ended by a Claymore. Suddenly MNM finding their mark with 2 big kills.
Yep, I mean, the double kill from Ray is massive, but then the overextension there, trying to get that 3rd kill in the round, a bit unnecessary. The setup strategically from Direwolves is great so far. They got jammers in the right spots, the mirror windows, and they're playing passive off those strong positions. But when you're in the 3v3, things can get a bit dicey all of a sudden. The 3 flashbangs on Nello's back, or in his pocket rather, is the only piece of utility the attackers have to get any sort of way into this map. And Solotov spin that last soft breach charge on Ash. It's all down to 15 seconds of gunplay.
15 seconds to go.
Solotov close to the bomb site. Hunting them down. Logic bomb's going off. He just misses an opportunity. It's Jackie Wu to collect. Jackie Wu picks up yet another. And MNM are too slow to the punch. Direwolves block them at the onset. And as the diffuser goes down, well, it's a 1v1. Harambe gets the final kill yet again. Direwolves up 2-0.
It's a very close call again, right? If we see the timing work out differently between Solotov and Jackie in the top White Stairs, then, Jackie doesn't get this initial kill, nor does he get the second. And all of a sudden it means MNM, they're in a 3 versus 1, which they can then win because the last member of Harambe is up above with no real way to contest the bomb site on where they would be planting. Another one of those very small details that goes the wrong way for MNM and gives the round to Direwolves instead. 2-0 now for them. They're gonna work their way through the bomb side. Starting up top, going main floor, now going to the first floor. Not the basement, as I will keep preaching and learning about. Frost being brought out.
You speak American when you're in America, okay?
Okay, sir. Okay.
Even though we're not.
We're not, yeah.
We're not in America. You know what I mean.
I see.
You know what I mean.
Harambe bring out the Frost. I spoke of how he's bringing out like the most amount of like flexibility and like round-defining operators. This one I'm a little bit like, is this round-defining question mark? Because we don't see Frost being played in the first floor bomb site pretty much ever on Cafe. Now you do bring the bubble shield. You can, as you see here, on the coat window, the big window jump in as well, deny the entries from the attackers. But it's not typically where the attack will be coming from. Typically, at least from European North American teams, we go for a roam clear, right? You go up top, you clear all the floors down, you do a bit of verticality, then you hit the bomb side. And looking at MNM, they have both the Bog and the Sledge and the Gridlock. This heavily kind of signals that they want to go for roam clear, get map control, do vertical damage control, and then hit the bomb site itself. That might make Harambe's Frost pick entirely useless in terms of gadgetry. But of course, you still have the deployable shield, secondary shotgun, etc. You still get value in the setup phase.
Oh, immediate engagement, and down goes Jackie Wu. Solotov enters through red stairs and starts off the killing. Jackie Wu has been a thorn in the side, but there's Soufflé to pick up two. Again, MNM not expecting these unpredictable roams from Direwolves. Soufflé could have had a third. Over towards reading door.
Drone ready.
No way he goes for the run out here.
You can't get out, you gotta fight your way out, I guess.
Harambe comes in for backup. MNM are just getting beaten to the punch every single time they try to get into this building. Nathan Tyrant off the board. Not the start MNM wanted.
Drone ready.
Oh, they're gonna slow things down now instead. You figure out the whereabouts of Soufflé, if he's still active on the roam or not. And I mean, I hate to say, but like maybe the Jackal ban actually is genius in hindsight, because with how aggressive you're playing and like hiding in corners right now, MNM gotta spend so much time and resources droning out every inch of the map to comfortably walk through. And that's all thanks to that Jackal ban. No Duke being played on I either, so can't do the phone call rings as well.
Nitro Cell goes off. Pecan still roaming from above. There's another Nitro Cell tossed out for good measure. Uses beheads Pecan. At least that's a bit for MNM. And now at close range, the Skeleton Key does the rest of the job. But Direwolves just roaming effortlessly, leaving Nello in a 1v2. Just under a minute to go. A flash onto white stairs, but no drones, no intel. No wherewithal as to where either of these players from Direwolves are. Ray is playing very sheltered minutes at the moment. If Nello decides to go for a vault in towards Freezer, there's a frost mat underneath him. I don't think that's something that you quite expect. Instead, he'll open up a small part of this soft wall. Diffuser in hand, but at this point, with 15 seconds to go,
15 seconds left.
not able to get the plant down. Returning back to the bomb site, he knows there's one there. Nello will need to test his reflexes. There's one, a second lined up inside of Freezer, but he just runs away, and Nello can't make it work. He has no idea where he is, so he'll keep the clock running. But Soufflé has all the time in the world to get back and seal the deal. Direwolves, 3-0, and a perfect rotation to start off defense.
It's a good look for them, really. And MNM now, I mean, yeah, there it is. Tactical timeout request here, because we gotta turn the ship around. Things are not really working out for them at all. The aggressive roam not getting punished, third time in a row. And yeah, sure, Direwolves building a massive lead in the first minute of the round. It's still close, right? We're talking 1v1s, 1v2s, etc. It can really turn extremely quickly, but so far that early momentum is carrying Direwolves through these rounds effortlessly.
Now, the Jackal ban begins to make an awful lot more sense.
It does.
Now, how do you counter this if you're MNM? Well, you've got Lion at your disposal. You've got a Nook who can get into an area, drone it out very quickly, get the Nook inside. If there's nobody from Direwolves nearby, you're probably not going to get spotted. Dokkaebi has been a staple. That can help as well.
I would actually go as far as say there's, on like a on like, instead of like a micro, like a macro, like there's two ways to typically break it apart, right? There's the structured version. Let's say you play Monty. You pick it out of the map, you just walk through it. Monty will get the information, you have guns behind him, pew pew pow, you clear the map. We've seen that at 2018 Invitationals against EG, Penta EG, right? They pick Monty, you walk through the map, you clear it all out. Then there's the more chaotic approach, and that's what you mentioned, the nuke, right? You just start sneaking in your own players on the attacking side into the map, and you just battle the opponent in chaos. Like, I would think Nuke Dokabi here could be fantastic to pick apart Direwolves, but I also think Monty, Flores, Nomad, for example, like Nilo's showing here as well, can also in a more stable version just kind of lock them out of their place, pick things apart slower, and then have more guns in the same area of the map, because what's happening is Direwolves, they will swing into a 1v2 and win it. What happens if MNM puts 3 guns in the same spot? Will they win the 1v3, or will they trade it out for a 1v1 instead? That's where I'm curious. But Direwolves, they're showing their own depths right now, right? They're doing Valkyrie, they're doing Pulse, they're doing Mirror, now they're doing Castle and the Maestro. So they're also playing aggressive some rounds, more intel heavy the next one. And even the Melusi being brought out, no one can sneak up staircases. So the nuke, perhaps in this case, might have been considered for them as a possible counter pick coming out from MNM. It's not the case, but it's a good thought to have.
Look at Direwolves' lineup right now, and you've got tons of information at your disposal. You've got Pulse, who will likely be the single most important operator in calling where this advance of MNM comes from. You've also got the Maestro cams of Jackie Wu. Those two will last long enough. There's no Twitch on the board for MNM. You've got explosives, I suppose. Both Nave and Solotov have explosives in their kits as Zofia and Ash, respectively. You've also got intel from Frostmats. I know a lot of people don't think that, but as much as it might be uncommon that somebody jumps into a Frostmat, unless you happen to be a LATAM team yesterday where they all were just Frostmat magnets. I don't know what was going on with that region. But there's still intel there, because somebody almost always will try to recover the player in that Frostmat. And then you've got Lucy Banshees as well. Every single gadget for Direwolves will give information as to the whereabouts of where MNM are or where they are coming from. And, oh no, just missed opportunity from Harambe. I think he did a tiny point of damage to Solotov, but certainly not enough to kill. Solotov now has free roam upstairs in Cigar.
It's also a matter of frustration right now. I mean, these gadgets they take time to deal with. The Castle Barricades, the Maestro Evil Eyes, etc. And I mean, 2 minutes have not been burnt. MNM, they've made progress into one room. Oh, well, there you go. Nave picks up a kill Pecan. A little bit of too much of a movement there from Direwolves. But again, if you sit still in the corner, these nades, they might just hit their marks and become free kills for them. Ray goes for a retake, gets the kill. Claymore trades it back from Nave, but it's a 3v3.
They're just trading out so frequently and so quickly with 50 seconds to go. At least half the server still upright. And Jackie will lose some of cover over top of him. This is the 4th bomb site on Cafe to get played. Direwolves are just burning through them.
Oh.
Cocktail is still open. There's a Nitro cell, by the way, and it's good enough to take out Solotov. MNM don't know what lies beneath. This Direwolves team is so electric at the moment. 20 seconds to go for MNM to get into the building. That's the struggle right now. Grenade goes out onto Brown stairs, but MNM still have no information. A Banshee starts to make noise. Direwolves the opposite. They now know, and they find Tyrant because of it. But Nello's inside of the site. He has had these last dying moments to make things work. They know exactly where he is. It's a mad dash to get to him, and Harambe gets it done yet again. Good Lord, what is happening in this match? DW up 4-0.
In the last 3 rounds in a row, we've had someone from MNM, typically Nello, plant with 0 seconds left, and then the opposition just running in and taking him out. Sure, this time the diffuser actually went down, so you get a point for that, I suppose, in terms of like the statistics of planting, but the round for the 4th time in a row goes to Direwolves, and it's the same fashion every single time. Nothing's really truly changing in that scenario. They hold on early, and this time in them, they took all the time they needed. They kept all 5 members alive. They even got the opening pick, and then it falls apart again. They fall flat, and Direwolves, again, beautifully placed around the pulse below with the C4. Gets a kill, 2 for 2 now. Then they play past the bomb site. They drag down the timer to as far as they can, right? It hits 10 seconds in a 2v2. Chaos unfolds. Then you plant on 0 seconds. It's a free win for the defenders if you can make it back to the bomb site in time, which they did. Full bomb site rotation, starting top, going reading, going kitchen, going mining, back to the top floor bomb site again.
Well, you've got the site rotation being cocktail, reading, bakery, and then mining. And now cocktail emerges yet again, but really, when it comes to these bomb sites, there's an embarrassment of riches for direwolves. They can go anywhere.
Yeah.
Because the issues that MNM are having right now don't change no matter what bomb site you go on. You'd think that attacking bakery on that first floor would be the easiest. It's a relatively linear bomb site for some teams. You can pull off and execute without clearing out the top 2 floors. We've seen it happen time and time again. But MNM are trying to play into what direwolves are doing now, and it's just not working.
No.
APAC are at their best when they are unpredictable and they are aggressive. They have extremely talented players and great mechanics, and that is showing off. And I think MNM might have come in thinking that direwolves were going to roll over. It's not how it works. Don't ever sleep on an APAC team that has nothing to lose.
And I mean, I'm sure that a small factor to this as well is that direwolves have not shown Cafe for 9 months. There's no real prep work that is relevant for MNM to really say, okay, what are we expecting from this? Like, I mean, sure, unpredictability, aggression, mechanical skill, whatever, classic APAC stuff, but they have no actual concrete visual information to kind of look at, be like, this is how direwolves typically plays Cafe. That's not a thing. So you're going in completely blind, Jackalbang comes out, and now you're in this position where you're playing on their turf and you are unable to break it, and you're not forcing them to play under your rules instead. That's how you find yourself down 0-4. Now, it is Cafe attack. Things can quickly change on the side swap in 2 rounds from now, but if you go, let's say, 6-0 up for direwolves, I'm not sure it's gonna matter all that much.
This is also MNM's map pick.
That is true.
So, while it might be 4-2 on one side, and we always say, that's predictable, that's exactly what we're looking for. When you factor in a team that might not be the most experienced on Cafe, and you look at a team that's playing with effectively 2 subs at an international event, a 4-2 for them on any half, on any map, is well below what I'm sure the expectations are for their opponents. I don't think MNM suspected that direwolves were going to get 4 rounds on either of these maps, and yet here we are. Direwolves, currently under pressure with just under a minute to go, find themselves losing some of the floor, losing their Black Mirror, hearing a drone go off, right into the waiting arms of Ubisoft. Harambe does die.
That feels bad, man. Moment if you're Harambe. I mean, you're under fire, grenades, for terror drones, crossfire, rappel angles, etc. He's dead for sure. But again, the time, the clock, 25 seconds. Nave on the sky with diffuser has to flashbang and just drop and pray for the best.
There's another drop, and that'll be sound that's heard by direwolves. Nitro Cell goes off. It's not enough to shake Nafe off his position. Direwolves fighting back. There's Nafe down. The diffuser gets planted all the same. Jackie Wu, 2 kills. A 7th unobtainable. Solitov finds 2 of his own, leaving Pecan into a 1v3. Nice shot from Pecan onto the skylight. Absolutely obliterates Ubisoft, but his luck runs out as he gets into a matchup head first against Solitov inside of Cigar. And MNM finally get on the board.
I mean, if direwolves had had a little bit more information there to know where the plant was going down, that could have been a round in their favor again once more, because they did have a C4 player. I believe it was Pecan on the Valkyrie actually before it came up white stairs, downstairs, and it did toss out C4, but it missed the mark. It didn't know exactly where the plant was going down. Nave, he chose to plant not just right below the skylight, but along that long desk instead. And the reasoning for that is because you can see the post-plant position, so the diffuser case itself, from the skylight. That means that you are in the, like 100% the best location possible to kill anybody trying to defuse if there's a member on skylight, which they had, before Pecan took him out. Last members of MNM, they played post-plant from Cigar, and we saw what happened there. Great crossfire, Pecan swings, he loses the gunfight. MNM takes their first round on the board. And with all the options at their disposal, pretty much direwolves, they say, we're gonna go downstairs to that kitchen bomb site instead. I mean, it worked out so greatly for them last time. And they're bringing out the mirror, the frost again. Pecan on the Goyo, because the time is running down every single time from MNM's side. Now, I would suspect that these mirrors, there's one of them at least, on side the second one. I'm curious if it's going to be upstairs or if they're both down here. I only see one so far. I am curious.
I feel like you're salivating over this matchup. You're fascinated by
He has one in his pocket, right? But I'm like, where are you going? Because he's still down. Maybe he's just waiting. I respect it. You could technically...
You know, they say that patience is a virtue.
It is, but sometimes you just want it right now.
Good things come to those who wait, my friend.
Waiting we shall. And still Ray, because he's still yet to put that down. MNM go for the same roam clear, but they're going to be much more cautious, I imagine, right? Drone out every inch. And Souffle in the same position. He's going to fall back early on. Not going to find the double kill this time around.
Almost all of these players on Direwolves have been formidable in 1v1s.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even Pecan. Yeah, it was ultimately impactless, but still the performance at the tail end of the last round was as close to an act of heroics as you're going to find. Coincidentally, the other team that we'll be casting later today.
True, yeah.
Team Secret versus Heroic coming up. That's you and I. I mean, there's going to be an abundance of matches on this channel. So tune in. Halfway through this round, there's been a Nitro Cell that's already gone off. One player inside of Train is that Solitov just missing out. Souffle gets away and escapes back down to the main floor.
I mean, I might go as far as that. MNM, they look scared right now. No one is swinging, holding offensive angles. I mean, they're like, there's a guy in Train. Let's all not peek the guy and just hold passive angles. He escapes, he gets away. But the benefit here is for MNM, they have Buck and the Sledge. So the vertical floor here will get broken apart so quickly. The 1 minute 20 timer that they're working with actually is fine for them because of that fact.
Oh, absolutely. The defenders are going to lose whatever protection they may have above them. Direwolves usually very good with their Nitro Cells, almost gaining a kill per round with those explosive devices, have been wholly unsuccessful. Nave has been down on red stairs, and there's a retrieval mission. Solitov watching, holding court. He'll go on to drones as their anti-flank in the track stingers that go up. Souffle will be the one under fire at the bottom of red, escapes over towards Small Bakery. MNM need to be very wary of this. All the while that they're destroying this floor on the second floor, the time is going down. Pecan decides to look upwards, maybe an engagement, maybe not. Ultimately loses to the newly reanimated Knave. Still sledging going on from above. The drop will need to happen. Nello holds on to the diffuser. Solitov taking down Ray, but Solitov's now been downed as he goes through the hatch. Harambe firing hopelessly through the smoke. There goes Jackie Wu. MNM, though, not able to play it. Wait! Nello gets it the last second, but you have to ensure Direwolves stop it. Good lord, that was close, and they pull it off as it's a flawless round in the end. Nobody from MNM dies. They get downed, but not secured. That must have been a nanosecond between that diffuser getting planted.
Yeah. I am very positive that was like a 0 point something. I didn't think they were going to have it. I mean, Nello, at the very last fraction of a second, stops that 7-second plant timer. And thank God for that, because otherwise that would have been like a 1v5 clutch on time. You heard the player comes there, MNM, spirits are high, saying let's get this comeback. They believe in it. They got the 2 rounds that they quote-unquote really desperately needed to have some room for mistakes now on the defensive side. And I'm curious to see how Direwolves are intending to pull apart these rounds, because I would say that they looked very well prepared for how they expected MNM to, you know, approach an attack. They might have a similar good read on them on how they're going to do their defensives.
Now let's do the first half recap for all of you. The scoreline is 4-2 for Direwolves. That one is immediately evident. Both teams on streaks to get to that point. Direwolves winning the first 4 rounds. After the 3rd round, MNM called their timeout. They're only allowed 1 per map, so that's it. MNM do not have a safety net underneath them. MNM ended up finding a bit of a recovery as the first half went on. Rounds 5 and 6 went into the column of marshmallows and Molotovs. They get the diffuser down, they get the opening pick. They do it on Cocktail and Bakery. MNM actually leading the way in terms of opening duels. They got it in either all 5 rounds or technically 4 rounds if you consider that one of those rounds was a trade. Direwolves only 1 uncontested first blood so far. This might be a quick one from Direwolves. So they aim to clear out the defenders that are playing over by reading. Logic bombs go off. There's a Lion on the board as well for good measure. But a clash emerges from MNM. And this one will be fascinating to watch.
I was gonna say, Knave's clash is... It's kind of iconic. He's one of the few players that are, as an IGL as well, who's happy to bring this particular operator. And it's hard to play Clash, not just as an individual player, but as a team, right? Because Clash, as an operator, doesn't do a whole lot without somebody behind her to assist and do damage with a gun. So the entire team now, or members of the team, had to play around this together. Oh.
An explosion goes off, but doesn't claim its intended target. Jackie Wu down below, hunting this Maestro. Now making some music with that LMG, that's for sure.
Sitting tight so far. No one's really taken any gunfights directly with one another. The Zero here bringing good information game, although almost jammed out to the floor. Stays alive for now. 1 minute 15 seconds left. Nelo's gonna hold down below and train. I mean, I don't think he knows that he's actually safe right now. He thinks he's under fire. He's gonna stick around there for a while.
There's an Argus cam that goes off, gaining information. The unpredictability the Direwolves had on defense, much harder to do on attack. I don't know if Ray was looking for a jump in with the Dokkaebi or not, but he meets his death at the hands of Solitov, still from above. Putting the shield on his back, Nave pulls out the sidearm, down goes Jackie Wu, shield comes right back out, it's back to work. There's the flash, says Pecan, decides to repel on in. MNM sweeping through this Direwolves offense so far. 3 players from Direwolves all finding the end. Harambe's next one to go. Pecan guarantees that it won't be another flawless round for MNM, but he's got a tall task ahead of him. 4 separate players, and he'll be slowed down as well by the clash. Look at that, just almost fully immobilized. Dropped through laundry hatch and pulverized by Ubisoft. MNM 3 in a row. And they look far more confident on their very first defense than they did on most of their attacking rounds.
I agree, but I also say that Direwolves, they look less comfortable on their starting attacking round. I mean, the way they're playing on defense is everyone's kind of running around, doing their own thing in the roam, and that succeeded pretty much every single round but one. And now when you're the attacking side, the things are flipped. You don't have any freedom to move anywhere because as an attacker, you start with 0 map control, you spawn outside the building, you go to the roof of the cafe, then you work your way through and down, or down and through rather. So I'm curious to see if Direwolves can find like a stable way of approaching these rounds. Say this is our starting point, this is our end goal, and then work from A to B. Because in that previous round, they were everywhere and nowhere at the same time and never got any comfortable ground. And the moment they, kind of inched just a little bit forward, they lost 2 members immediately with no trades, no refrags or anything. And then you're playing 5 versus 3 against a clash. That's not going to bode well for you. They were hovering the Monty in the very first round. I think it was Ray on that particular operator. But they went off it with the attacker repick option 20 seconds or so later. I was curious if that was because of the clash that they saw. Maybe they're trying to see Echo because there's a counter picks to the Monty. I'm not sure. But not seeing the Monty, I'm happy to see a different GIGN operator in Twitch here try and combat some of these pieces of utility from MNM.
Yeah, I mean, look at the operator lineup for MNM. If you can get within range of it, and not have to, maneuver around a tight door frame, etc., you got mute jammers. That will be the primary target for this Twitch. You've got 3 ADSs to deal with. You've got the Goyo canisters, which can get blown up by the Twitch drone. Yokais as well.
Dirty.
At least it wasn't the Twitch that died. A Nitro Cell gets ripped from Ubisoft, and down goes Jackie Wu. Jackie Wu, dare I say it, has been the most consistent player across the board for the team. But don't sleep on Harambe. Harambe's 7 kills, mostly coming in clutches at the tail end of rounds. Call him the trash man because he's always cleaning up.
Yep.
If you're a fan of basketball, you know what trash minutes are.
See, I don't watch enough sports for this. I'm very sorry. But I did appreciate the reference, even as a non-sports person.
You're very welcome.
Did he actually hit the drone? I didn't think he did.
It looked like he missed.
Yeah, I thought so too. Oh, he got it. Okay, no mind. We're just old. I was gonna say, he had a yokai during the spot like this. No way he missed, but you never know. you know, this opening death from Direwolves really slowed things down, and Jackie Wu being the entry player, playing Iana, etc., it is gonna have this effect on the round, right? Souffle as a Twitch doesn't want to risk dying, Ray on Dokkaebi doesn't want to risk dying, and then you have two vertical players, both of which are very much needed, so we're just gonna take the cost of time due to this opening death, and just have less time for the execute itself on this basement, or sorry, this kitchen attack rather.
Thank you for correcting yourself.
And I'm trying very hard. It's difficult.
These 4 rounds that Direwolves have put up against MNM is better than any single map that Wolves did against MNM over the last 3-4 months. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
Certainly not me. And that's more so an indictment of Wolves, not necessarily Direwolves. I would have figured that Direwolves would have put up more than 3 rounds against MNM. Either way, Direwolves getting into the dying minutes, dying moments, I suppose I should say. There's only 40 seconds left. It's Harambe watching from above. That buck in a very familiar spot. Nafe will engage with one, but there's a nade that's going to come out, and he needs to be much more proficient with his shooting than what we saw Usis. Finding a kill onto Souffle. Solotov taking out Ray. Direwolves barely able to get into the building. Pecan again denies a flawless round, but it's Harambe as last man standing. Direwolves in these last 3 rounds have only been able to muster 2 kills. Can they get a third? No, they can't. Solotov seals the deal. Flawless round, and then it's a 4v0 and a 4v0 for MNM. Those are dominant holds and dominant results. And the last 3 rounds in particular have been mighty fine and more along the lines of what we come to expect from this MNM squad against almost any opponent. It's a tie game now, for what it's worth. And it's a timeout from Direwolves, maybe to try to settle the team down, as both teams winning 4 rounds in a row. 4 to start off the match for Direwolves, and now 4 for MNM to catch up.
Yeah, I think Direwolves with this timeout has to talk about changes needed in these rounds, whether it's operators, playstyle, or the approach to the individual rounds, right? And especially losing members early and also progressing fast enough to have time to work with. What we just saw in the kitchen attack, they made a, what I would call like a classical mistake, where they opt for a bakery attack instead of going for a hatch drop with only 20, 30 or so seconds left. It's not enough time to clear out bakery, waiting next to it, and then go through prep, then get the bomb down, maybe reach the wall. It doesn't work. And we saw MNM, and we see most regions and most teams from all of these regions just go for the hatch instead of what's it called, dining. Just drop the hatch, go for a kitchen execute. It's way faster, it's arguably easier, and you don't need to clear as many things on your checklist to achieve the same goal. And it just looks like Direwolves don't have like a very precise or coordinated plan of what they want to do. It looks a little bit like there are 2 or 3 voices with 2 or 3 different ideas, and then it's kind of like, I guess we're gonna do this one. And then there's just not enough time to get it done correctly. And in the desk second that we just heard before this map started, Mandy and James spoke about how they used to have a 1-person IGL system, Direwolves that is, which is, you know, every team has been through this before. But now with these changes, they got like a 5-man IGL system. So all 5 members essentially are calling out what they see, ideas, and what they want to do in the round. And I'm sure that even though all 5 members are doing so, there's gonna be like one final voice who says this is going to be the plan. But I'm not seeing that these attacking rounds. I'm seeing a lot of, let's try this, see if it works, it does, what do we do now? Not quite sure. So get in the same page, one singular plan, follow that straight line, see where that takes you. Operator lineup-wise, we only see 1 change, no sledge on the board. We see Souffle on the Lion instead, trying to keep MNM stuck in their corners or stuck in their places. And seeing as they have both a pulse, a mirror, and a castle, this might actually work quite well for Direwolves, because these are operators that all like to stand still in strong areas of the map, and the Lion charge can help capitalize if you have information and a way to act upon that information.
There goes the Lion on the run out from Solotov, but it's not caught, and he managed to get back in safely. Down goes Pecan. Usis under fire. Trapped over towards Laundry, and a nade will follow up from Jackie Wu, but MNM are long gone from that position.
Sensor deployed.
Nice gamble from MNM, and it immediately starts off the round on much better footing than they could have hoped for.
And you can tell that MNM had that like telegraphed out to the T, because the moment Pulse jumped out, a member of MNM ran towards the basement. I think it was Uses on the Valkyrie, opened up the garage door with him so he could get back in safety quickly. This wasn't a solo play from a solo top, just going for that crazy aggressive offensive play. No, this is him saying there's a guy repelling here. When a line charge comes out, I'm gonna jump out. Someone please go basement and help escort me back. That means it's a 5 versus 4 instead of a 4 versus 4. And MNM, they keep the man count in their favor. That can be the difference maker in these kinds of rounds. And again, Direwolves fighting from behind, losing early man advantage again. Tyrant downstairs does not have a C4.
Attackers dropped the diffuser.
It does have some vertical angles available to his disposal and a secondary shotgun if he needs it.
Bit of a calm before the storm.
Heartbeat sensor deployed.
Harambe will creep in towards white.
Oh.
Check for proximity sensors. And there's one there anyway. So he looked in the wrong part of the map. What more can you do?
It's tough.
Uses just continues to lose HP in these altercations, but not enough to get him into a grave. Jackie Wu, the drop on in, but swung by Tyrant, and now it's Nave from above. Souffle to stop another flawless round. Boy, oh boy, Direwolves have just completely fallen apart from what we saw out of them at the beginning of this map. Softening up Tyrant, and can't do anything else beyond that. MNM, 5 rounds in a row. A flawless, then they lose one, then they lose one, and then they lose none, and that's another flawless. Direwolves only able to get 2 kills in the last 4 rounds. That's not where you want to be, and I think this might have been what we expected of the MNM Direwolves matchup all along.
I mean, it speaks to Cafe and the nature of attack versus defense. Same goes for like Theme Park Villa, where there are just such a thing as you are either an attacker team or a defending team, and you will struggle on the side that you're not good at. And then, of course, when we talk about the best teams, like the absolute best teams in the world, they're strong, or neutral at least, on both sides. And that's how you start seeing matchups, you know, not just kind of flop on its head where we see Direwolves get 4 really impressive rounds of defense, and then they cannot buy a round on their attack. And MNM, they're not playing perfect Siege either. They're playing really good Siege, but there are gaps that Direwolves can expose, but they're not even getting into those positions because they keep losing that early member, and then they don't know where to go from there. It almost feels as if they need all 5 people alive to achieve their goal, and the moment that doesn't go their way, they're just kind of wandering around. I mean, we just saw a 4 versus 5. They're walking on basement, no drones, walks up white stairs single-handedly, no trade, no nothing. And if you win the gunfight, great, Uses dies. If you lose the gunfight, however, then you're playing 3 versus 5. Do that 2 or 3 times in a round, and then you're gonna start seeing these kind of flawless 1v5s happening for the defenders, because it's your job as an attacker to create the openings, not just find them, but if they're not given or represented to you, make them happen yourself. I like this aggression from Pecan. There's a drone at his feet as well. But are we hunting blindly, or with an objective in mind? We're chasing ghosts.
They absolutely are. Pecan being guided up white stairs.
Bomb located by
The
attackers.
E1D goes off, but the targets are found.
Magnet deployed.
Watching the open hatch. MNM, as stoic as ever. Who blinks first? That's the real question. There's nobody really near the hatch, though. So Direwolves, again, as you said, hunting ghosts, apparitions, floating around the map.
I mean, it looked good, and now we're just kind of stopping again. Now, there are members on soft floor that is destroyable from below with grenades from MNM. Pecan could punish with the nades below.
Nade ready for Pecan. Ray getting the lead-off kill for Direwolves. That's what they need. And they need to start stitching these together. You've taken out one of the 2 top players for MNM. Down goes Ray, Nello follows. Jackie Wu, 2 of his own before Tyrant ends that rain. A flash will go in from Tyrant as he escapes towards the back of bar storage. Pecan running up, but it's Harambe to meet his fate at the hand of Nafe. Another EE1D goes out, all expended at this point. Souffle and Pecan to work together against Tyrant and Nafe. Still about half, just under half of the round to go.
Yeah.
Very quick, very early action right now. Direwolves did so well on defense when they played their game. MNM were not able to lay into them the way that they wanted. But now playing this slower game that MNM can often flourish in, even though they are A quick team, more often than not, they catch Pecan sleeping. And now it's all down to Souffle. On Repel will swing in towards White, and it's all done from Tyrant. 3 kills, 4 Direwolves in that round, significantly better than the last 5 rounds that we've witnessed, but still just not good enough. And after a 4-0 start to this matchup for Direwolves, MNM have won 6 in a row, and they sit on match point.
I was honestly really loving what I was seeing from Direwolves in the first minute and 20 or so seconds. I mean, once they're when they're moving, when they're actively doing something, it looks really good. But the moment they start either slowing down or standing still entirely, a lot of flaws represent themselves, right? I mean, in that 2 versus 2, why is Lion jumping out the White Stairs window and walking outside the building doing nothing, and then Ana goes in a drone next to 2 enemies and dies while on drone? That is puzzling to me, but previously, with the pick apart the 5v5, they built the man advantage, White Window Holy Repel, Nate comes out, Softer Sergeant from below, they get a trade going, and even a numbers advantage, that all looked fantastic for them. And then it just didn't any longer. It's a very small part of Direwolves' play they need to improve upon, but it's massively affected them essentially in all of these rounds on their attacking side, and at this point, I worry if they just run out of juice for this one. Jackie Wu now gonna go into Nuke. That's gonna be an operator change rather for them. First time so far, but it's very late. It's match point, and now we're gonna just try and go off more individual play, lingering around looking for kills. MNM, they're gonna play that team style, just like Direwolves did in their defense, right? The Mira, the Maestro, the Goyo, information game across the board. Jackie would almost have to make a miracle happen this round to really justify the Nuke pick with how things have been going so far.
There go the logic bombs. Direwolves again very quickly into the building to clear out this top floor. Map on the line. Not to overuse the pun, but this isn't exactly dire for Direwolves. This is MNM's map pick. DW gave MNM quite a scare to start things off, but then it was business as usual for this European squad. Being able to claw it back. No amount of changing things up on operators, changing things up on entry, and a timeout could really stem the tides against DW.
Nello, he's like, this White Stairs hold is mine. He's got a jammer, a beat boop, and he's got everything locked there. Nello just seems on Cafe to he picks a spot with Maestro, and he'll just play there with the LMG and just stick around for the entirety of the round. And he mostly goes unpunished. Nello is a very stable anchor play in the UL.
Oh, Solotov on the run out yet again, and does it while the EE1D is active. Jackie Wu slaughtered by Solotov down below.
Good night.
15 and 5, and Solotov is just continuing onward from what we saw yesterday. It's a bold move by Pecan to just charge headfirst into a black mirror. It does not work out. Direwolves with just 2 players left, not a single player from MNM in the grave. Harambe on Repel. Oh, he'll actually take down Nello and secure at the last second, again denying a flawless round. MNM have come so close to it as Souffle sees Solotov, and down he goes at the hatch. But Souffle will need to win a 1v4 that is now a 1v3 in order to propel his team towards round 12. If not, MNM Gaming wins 7 rounds in a row and take their map. There's another E1D used. DMR packs quite a punch, so Souffle can get 2 shots onto his opponents. That's more than enough. But they watch him from above, and he gets taken out from multiple angles. Business as usual, indeed. MNM, what a triumphant second half.